Okay, great. Hi. Yes, thank you. My name is Petra, and I've been working for Simply Business for the last 15 years. The brand itself was established in 2005. However, the company behind it, Exbridge, was founded in 2001. I've been lucky number 13 to join, and today we employ more than 300 people. I've seen, in addition to huge changes to Simply Business, massive changes in the market. Yes, I still remember e-spotting and Overture and all these strange bidding models we used to have. But more recently, we have been affected by the challenges by Google's dominance over Bing. Bing, not to be forgotten, I love Bing, and I'm really pleased that Adthena is going to add it to their portfolio. But for all the different products that are, and innovation that are introduced on the PPC and SEO side, but also what affects us is the fierce competitiveness in our market, as well as the problems that the complexity of the multi-channel, multi-device, and the constant movements in the competitive landscape bring. That's why we needed a third-party tool that gives us a really comprehensive view of the PPC and SEO, as well as the combined area to understand what's going on in the market. And we needed to find an easy way to make decisions based on this data, and also how to actually share this knowledge with our company, from board level down to the product managers. Right, disrupting the business market. I really, really hate this cliche phrase, but to be honest, it actually means that we are a company that's really fast moving. But in addition, we are also a company that is a fun and a good place to work. We've won the Times 100 company to work for 2 years in a row now. But in addition to that, we're also heavily into charity. We're customer-centric. We've won twice now the Customer Service Team of the Year award. We really want to listen and act what's best for our customer. We're data-driven, both in our first-party data and our third-party data. But most importantly, we're really looking at the channel contributions, multi-touch and market intelligence data. And that's where Adthena's coming in to give us that holistic view on market movement, competitor analysis, and influence between the different channels. Right, this is where it gets interesting. If you like it or not, your market landscape and your competitors have a really major impact on your marketing performance. For example, if your CPC is suddenly rising, it's not necessarily something you've done. You haven't changed your maximum bid. It's what happened to your competitors. You have to deal with it. You have to fend off new market entries, or you have to make a move if your competitors move. This is important to realize, and also it's important to realize who the competitors in your space are, if they're direct or if they're aggregators. And if you realize that, that's half of the battle won. Look at device information that was mentioned earlier. Well, where are your competitors on the mobile space? Like mentioned earlier again, we realized, is anyone from AXA here? No? Good. Because AXA, actually, massive brand, 0% on mobile. Now that's an opportunity for me. And that's where we jumped in and immediately went to 100%. Everyone is actually talking about the big data, right? I'm actually a fan of little data because I like to segment my data to the tiniest possible dimension, and overlay it with different data sets. And within Adthena, you can do that. You can segment by single keyword. You can look at it from every aspect. And that will give you a very detailed view, and you can actually look at every part of your portfolio. You can have a look at a segment of your competitors, and that gives you a real advantage. It's also important to track specific events and have as much data as possible. For example, do you all know what happened when Google changed to the new ad format? Well, I know. and we took advantage of it immediately, and we jumped in as quickly as we could. Do you know what happened when Google did the SEO algorithm update, when they started having the answer box? What did it do to SEO? Well, we had to adjust and we had to change our PPC to compensate when we moved below the fold, even though we were in a strong position on SEO. Cannibalization, well, it doesn't really affect us because we don't run two brands, but if you have two brands, well, which one's the strongest one? And what happens if you push one of them? And so on. SEO and PPC cannibalization. God, now how many meetings have we had when we said, oh God, you pushed on PPC, therefore my SEO has dropped. Well, now I can look at the data and I can tell them very clearly, okay, I moved up on these keywords. This is what happened on SEO. No more discussion. So we're trying to build up really a big picture to make sure it all works as designed. Competitive advantage, well, what do I mean with that? I want to see at any given stage over every, period that I like, I want to see and track movements on SEO and on PPC. Well, if something happens on SEO, does that explain what's happening on PPC too? Loss of ranking by one of my competitors, does that mean they're then getting more aggressive on PPC? It's very important to track. We want to see if there's a move in click share by one of the competitors. Who are they actually taking it from? It might not necessarily be me, it might be someone else. If a competitor moves up, I want to see if it is an aggregator or if it is a direct one, because then I can change my copy. If it's an aggregator, I move away from certain ad copy that says compare quotes. If it's direct, I need to change my USPs too. If I find a competitor is suddenly pushing, I might need to then bid higher. But also, if I can see a competitor withdrawing or slightly moving down, I will tactically actually try to bid down slightly to force the prices down again. Most importantly, I want to see and identify opportunities if a competitor is going down. I will also try to calculate the impact that this competitor move has. If I can see someone aggressively pushing, I will immediately try and calculate, okay, this is the expected CPC from now on, and so on. And this will then allow me to go back to my board or my finance people and say, actually, this month is going to be really, really tough. Any chance we can move some budget around from another tactic? And that gives you a real advantage. So what's happening if a competitor is suddenly bidding up? Well, did they make any changes to their website? Have they improved the customer journey? So you know who it is, go and check out their website. What if a customer suddenly competitor suddenly bidding down? Right, they might actually think about doing something to their website, and until then, you're safe. So that's another good one to watch out for. Again, suddenly, you can see somebody moving up. Actually, they might have promotional offers on, and they will back it up with a really aggressive bidding strategy. Well, it's very nice to see and important to see how the rest of the market actually reacts to that. Not just you, but the rest of the market. And just like the gentleman said earlier, I actually try and learn from these promotional campaigns, because I can see when the campaign started, I can see their movements on PPC, and I will actually then learn and say, okay, they've run it for 6 weeks, they've bid up, they gained so much market share. Well, that's actually really, really powerful for when you come to do your own. So that's why I analyze, record, and I learn from these events. So market intelligence also affects new entries. Well, you need to track these new entries into your space. Like we said before, are they actually direct ones? Are they ones you've never heard of? Are they coming in from abroad? Or are they aggregators? So for me, that's very important. It actually might be a competitor that never bid on these keywords before. So again, check out their website. They might have added a few more products. So for me, it's really easy to see, because when you look at their website, you have a look what their keywords they're bidding on. You monitor their ads, and you actually see who's funding them. So within no time, I can say, okay, this one will go bust in a week. This one is here to stay. And they're wasting their money because their ad copy is really poor, or these are a real threat, and they're for the long run. Well, this is now the other way around. If you're trying to enter another market, it's great to have an insight before you even go there to see who's already in that space. Well, we're going to the US, so I want to check out who's already in the US on SEO and PPC. I want to see what keywords they're bidding on, because there's always slight changes. In the US, they've got workers' compensation insurance, for example, which we don't really have here. So it's important to know what people are bidding on, what bidding levels they have, what CTRs could I expect. And then I can go back and I can say to my guys, this is the kind of budget we need. So again, I'll have a look at the competitors' websites. I'll have a look at their strengths and weaknesses. Because obviously, you can't but learn from other people's good things and mistakes. And this will honestly give me a better pre-launch planning and hopefully execution. We've already mentioned it, but historical data is absolutely vital. We've been working with Adthena now for more than 15 months, and I've now truly getting the full benefit of having more than 1 year, because I want to see seasonality. I want to see cycles. I want to see the percentage of time competitors are on. I want to try and figure out their time of the day and day of the week strategy. And therefore, I will adjust mine. And then I'll have a look and try and figure out what they're doing in their customer journey. So if they're on not over the weekend, I can adjust and I bid harder if I think I can convert those leads. So it's very important to look at that. The annual overall strategy of a competitor is very interesting too. Their device strategy we've talked about. I also compare the paid and organic share to figure out what their overall strategy for the whole of marketing is. It's amazing what data gives you. Like we mentioned before, learning from what my competitor did, I want to figure out when is the best time to do my promotions. I want to do a keyword gap analysis, but not now, over time. So I can look at an existing competitor, and I can figure out if they added more keywords. Well, that would be very, very powerful to see how they're changing their portfolio. I want to see what creatives are doing. I want to see where I can position myself, because we are an aggregator as well as a direct insurer. This means if I find myself in a landscape with loads of aggregators, compare quotes doesn't cut. So I need to change to a USP which focuses more on the customer service and what we can do for the customer. Whereas if I sit between a Hiscox, an AXA and a direct line, my compare quotes will actually be a good option. So again, who is testing which app proposals? What opportunities does that give me? Where are we going next? Well, more data becomes more powerful. I want more and more data, and I'm pleased Adthena is adding more and more to their portfolio, which again will give me more to work with. We are currently in the process of integrating via the API. That means we've got first and third party data. We've got a really good analysis team, a massive analysis team, and we're tracking every single step and event through our customer journey. Now, if I can then match that up with Adthena as well and other third-party tools, this is giving me the holistic view that I want. I'm actually tracking market events already. I absolutely love the way that you can see in Adthena at any one time, the percentages and everything. So what I'm trying to do in my own in-house tool is I'm tracking, similar to the pointer values, I have labels which indicate what happened to certain metrics when there was an outside event or if we had an event in-house which influenced that data. This is massively important for our budgeting and planning because, as you all know, your data can be flawed by influences such as outages or if Google made changes and next year round, you have to take that into consideration. Most importantly, I would say, what next? Well, be prepared and be ready for whatever the market throws it at because nobody will know. We don't have a crystal ball. We wish we have. Thank you.